Hi, YouTube. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me to my new folks. I'm listening to a Rabbi Simon Jacobson. I'm not Jewish. I respect the man because I like him as a person. Um, the, I don't care about people's religion. This, to me, although I have, I feel though I carry the Christ spirit, that's the spirit of God, and the word of God is written on our hearts. So I don't believe in any set religion like that. No. I mean, I'm not against anybody's scriptures or whatever. I just can appreciate an intelligent, loving human being, no matter who they are. I'm in the middle of listening to The Kabbalah Reveals How to Slow and Reverse Aging. Do we really want to? This is no kidding. About a week ago, I noticed that I was getting more wrinkles like right here. I'm like, you're getting old. And then last night I was laying in bed and I had touched like around my eye and I felt like extra wrinkle there. And I'm like, wow, wrinkles. Do you know? I don't. I'm not so vain like that. I just know I'm going to be a cool looking real old thing if I get real old. And that's the way I want to age personally. I don't want to look like a 20-year-old. I don't need to. I don't feel that this is me forever the way I am right now. So, and I believe that we'll have glorified bodies if we do things right. The promises of God are ours. And so I'm not really kind of, yeah, I exercise, I take care of myself, I love my hair, just certain things, yeah. But God made me that way, you know, like if you have like blue eyes or green eyes or whoever you are, you're beautiful because God needed one of you, you know, that type of thing. That's how I feel about everybody. I think everybody's cute. I really do. Um, Now their personality, I don't know. That's sometimes not so cute, and it leaves something to be desired with some people, But as far as carrying that vanity, I've seen some really cute old people. I mean, just freaking adorable, and you could tell they were such beautiful human beings. You can just, from working in retirement homes, I um, found it. And even when I was a kid, I'd go in and volunteer to read to them, or in Campfire Girls, we would go, and Bluebirds, we'd go sing to old people and stuff, play bingo with them, that type of stuff. And I always found the value in the elderly and the lessons that they took the time to teach me, that they would tell me something that I feel was a gift from God through them to me, that I found value in their words. So, yeah, I'm going to finish listening to what uh, Simon has to say on that. But I've read the Kabbalah anyway, the Kabbalion and the Talmud and the Torah. Did you know that women used to be, I don't know now, but that women were not allowed to read the scriptures? That's wild, isn't it? Can you imagine if you were not allowed to read the Bible as a woman? Wow, that would be beyond discrimination. But a lot of men believe that women aren't qualified to even be a minister, even if they believe like me in my heart. If I find a man that's doing it better than I am, or at least on that same level, I'm here to help him. I don't need to take a lead role as a man up in front of society or anything. I just don't feel like that. But some women do. They're blazing their own trails too. But I really don't believe in it like that. I feel more of, well, like in gematria, my numbers, or even like 914, somebody else, a couple other people I know have that number. That's one in particular, like 2380 or 1860. But my name, even when I was born, then a couple different, all of my names that I've had work out with the gematria for Christ Hubbard. And I've always felt like that anyway. Maybe I'm probably a lot of you do too. But that 914 is also affiliated with the dark force. That doesn't mean that's what you are or who you are. It could have been who you were, um, or who you are, a part of who you are now for the understanding for other people. It could be just a straight up gift from God for you. So that's a little insight on those numbers in gematria that I don't abide by it. I don't attest by it. I don't go in there and look these things up, but I did, however, write in those actual documents almost 5 decades ago. Well, actually, exactly 5 decades ago. So, whatever is online now, it's been added to. It's supposed to be added to, but it's been added to in some really wild ways, like people putting profanity in there or calling other people names in there and putting their name under these numbers of these filthy words and different things like that. That is put to intentionally try to show as like if somebody wrote something nasty on my name, which would be a hard thing to do because I'm in that book from so long ago. So if they wrote something current, I would be able to pull up the more ancient stuff and say, well, you can say anything you want, but this is me and this is my personality. And you won't be able to throw any shade on it because my name is Barb Colleen Weiss. So anyway, I'm not being vain here. That was supposed to be funny. I hope you found it funny. I love everybody, so if I get stupid, I'm just being stupid. It's not from the depth of my heart. Okay? Just so you know. So, yeah. I might, depends on how long I'll talk here, but I have my rolling machine ready in case I want to feel like rolling some cigarettes for later so I can talk and do that at the same time. Get a couple things done. So we're supposed to have more rain coming in. So I thought I'd get this done as soon as I could and get it uploaded. But because sometimes, if it's bad weather, I'm not able to like join in on live streams. Like last night, Sean Baker MD went live, and I've joined him one other time about maybe a year ago. But he's the carnivore doctor. Um, I have really high regard for this guy. But anyway, I wasn't able to join in on his live stream. And also with Leak Project, Rex Bear, I wanted to get on there and say hi to everybody, but my weather was bad. So I had to watch it afterwards, which is all right anyway. But if I don't ever join in on a live stream, it might be because of that, or I just don't feel like it. There'll be a lot of times that I just don't want to have to type or interact, and this is driving me crazy. Will you stay back there? Behave. So it's like a naughty kid. Just behave. And I passed around a meme that was on Facebook, and I didn't believe it entirely 100%, but it is somewhat true. Another friend had shared back in my day, we didn't call it a behavior disorder. we called it being a brat. And it is true in that extent because if you were traumatized as a child and brutalized or whatever the physical or mental or emotional things you were going through, still didn't give us license to be little animals out on this planet. And that is a problem in society that people are putting labels and behavior disorders on things that just is a societal issue, not actually a behavior disorder. If it's like I don't believe in schizophrenia, and there's other psychologists and psychiatrists that believe the same way as I do. Um, I can't prove the spiritual warfare, but we all know that there's other things that go on in our bodies and minds that aren't entirely ours. It's like if you get a bad thought, don't own it. That's not your human beings. We are not meant to think and do those things. Now, when we take that thought on, we just owned it, you know. And if we act on it, then that becomes a part of who we are. So if you get that odd feeling, or if your mind says, don't like that person, or he's crazy or whatever, no, Satan, shut up. I'll make my determination how I feel about this person without your stupid input. That's me not allowing the dark force to get in at me towards another human being. Now, on the other hand, if you get like a sense like there's just something wrong with the person and you can't prove it, there's just no tangible reason, no reason whatsoever, but it's just a vibe you get off somebody. How do you prove that? That's a spiritual sense of somebody's soul, you know. Now, I can't pretend with that energy, and I will dig that out of them. If I can't dig it out of them personally, I'll find a way to do it. I'll find somebody else who can and help me do that, but it will be exposed. I won't let it go. So I'm just like that. I hope some of you are too. This is bringing the darkness out into the light. And it's like I have a saying, and I know I even have more than one narcissist that watch me, but I'm like, expose your local narcissist. If you have somebody in your life that's doing really awful things to you, tell me about it. Tell us about it. We want to hear it because we're probably going through similar things. It is a spiritual war, you know? So, yeah, I was listening to my daily psychology, and I thought about getting my master's, but I don't think I really need it. I'm more masterful with my heart and guided by God than I would be actually trying to counsel another human being with their spiritual psyche. I mean, I do that in a ministerial way, but I'm a little different about it because I'm like, whatever it takes. I don't have limits except for I won't harm you. But, if you put hands on me, I would more than harm you. You would get hurt. There's not a doubt in my mind. But that's just self-preservation, So, but anyway, yeah, I'm a little silly today. I did sleep good. Slept pretty darn good. Didn't eat too healthy last night, but not real awful either. I had some cheese and crackers, and then I had corn dogs. I had three of them, and some sunflower seeds. So it wasn't anything really, and they were 100% beef corn dogs, and just yeah, they're not the best. And I'm allergic to corn too, but yeah, but it was good. At least I didn't have any sugar. There is some ice cream in the freezer, and I just looked at it like, you are not my friend. No, sometimes I do. I used to not really like ice cream, and you couldn't get me to eat anything like vanilla ice cream. If it had chocolate on it, yeah. But in my household, I would make like my own chocolate syrup for ice cream because I didn't like the vanilla. And then I found out I was allergic to, well, I'm allergic to chocolate too, but not as bad. It seems like vanilla, the actual vanilla. I can have the fake stuff, but that has caramel color and yellow and brown dyes in it. And so, and like the uh real vanillin is actually made with flavoring from beaver glands from their buttocks. So none of it's really good for you, I don't think. You know, I think if I'm allergic to it, probably isn't good for anybody because I took a Mayo Clinic skincare or skin test for my allergies, and there's got to be several hundreds, like metals and different plastics and, things that probably, but the food things are what really freaked me out, beans, legumes, asparagus, just weird things like, or peas, I think people can eat things and it's like a vegetable. It's supposed to be good for you, or whole grains or something, but I'm better off actually eating bleached white flour. My body processes it easier than if you were to give me a whole grain. It would almost kill me. So my body just doesn't want to digest it. So everybody is different. Mm. Then they're thinking about, which they already do, of putting wood products in food. And there is you can look it up, there's a name for it. Something like, it sounds like isopropanol, but it's pro, something with a S in there, and then propylene or something like that. There's two different kinds of wood products they already put in food. And I'm allergic to wood. I'm even allergic to paper, toilet paper. I am allergic to these things, and they're putting it in our food. So if you're not aware of the things that you're eating, you could be, people weren't meant to really eat trees, although every bit of the pine tree, a conifer, is edible. If you're ever in a dire situation, you can take pine needles, make tea. It's tastes kind of like nuts, like pine nuts. You can use them. Every bit of the pine tree is edible, and vitamin C is really high in pine needle tea too. And I've tried them all before I knew of my allergens. The ones that I've planted, I found the Scotch pine to be the most nutty flavored one, but they all kind of are. And it was pretty good. I mean, if you have a cold, it's like, God, it's like 100 times more vitamin C in a cup of pine needle tea than there is in any vitamin C orange juice, or um, rose hips is very high in vitamin C like that also. I have roses out in my yard, so I have things like if we ever needed to survive. Like right now in the front yard, there's mushrooms like that big around. That'd be enough for a meal, right there. I don't need them and I'm allergic to them, but I mean, I would, if I had to, I would eat it for the vitamin E and K and the protein, and, you know, so, yeah, I know quite a bit about that type of stuff. Yeah, I was telling you yesterday, I had like a 4-star general friend me on Facebook, and I ignored him for a couple weeks, and I finally let him through, and he tried to talk to me privately, and I didn't answer, but I did put through a meme that another friend of mine had shared, and it's like, um, men, stop telling us on our profile pictures that, like, we're cute or hey beautiful or all the rest of your like scamming stuff. It's creepy. Signed, all the women in the world. you know so yeah, so I pass that around. I hope they get the idea. It is creepy. It's like, get out there and go on a post and talk to people and get to know them as your friend before you're sitting there telling them, don't compliment me on my looks when you don't even know shit about me. You know, I am not going to compliment you on your uniform. You're ugly in it. So you better have a good personality. Anyway, that's how I feel about that. Oh, you signed up to kill other people? Wow. Who's going to applaud you? Nobody in my house. But, and no, you aren't keeping me safe. God is the only person that keeps anybody safe. And we don't pray to God before we go kill people. That's like against the law, if you didn't know. No excuses. No, you're not defending anybody. You're doing what you want to do because you're a part of that dark cabal. Shut up. End of story. And I've been protesting more since I could breathe, so they're not playing with me, not like that. Now, if somebody's getting hurt in front of me, I'm going to be the first one to defend somebody. I see something unjust going down, you will not stop me, but I will stop you. That's my personality, so nobody fights for me, you know. Now, I might have friends that would fight for me, but um, I certainly would never ask anybody to or expect anybody to. Maybe like a husband with his wife, but then you get these men that would be willing to even hurt a woman, like another woman, for the sake of his woman, or to put down another woman for the sake of his woman or something. It's like, that's really a regressed attitude right there, that you think that you're actually benefiting your wife or girlfriend by demeaning another female for her. And if she accepts that, you're both retarded. You know, that's my outlook on that. I don't like that. I've had men try to call like other women names in front of me. It's like that is just, that's not impressing me at all. Well, it impressed me, but not in a good way, you know? Just don't like that. I don't like anybody doing that. Now, if somebody said that, oh, so and so did this bad thing or did that bad thing, and I knew they had done bad things to me too, be like, I can understand that. I can agree on that level, but if I don't know the person, or if I do know them and they're a good person and I hear something, oh, then there's going to be a problem because I won't let it go. Those are just a few things I'll defend. So, I may not even know a woman and hear some man putting her down, and it's like, you're really scum of the earth that you would even entertain demeaning a woman as a man, you know, and even other women doing it to each other. or like certain cultures calling each other bitches and hoes and whatever. It's like, I heard, heard my birth mother who gave me away, I heard her calling women names like that, and she was supposedly supposed to be friends with these people. And I'm like, yeah, I actually came out of you. The Lord does work in mysterious ways. You know, wow. Okay. But just certain little things that I couldn't overlook in my life that made me not want to be around people no matter what, you know. It's like my adopted parents were like that. I just, if I have something, it's not going to be gossip. It's going to be factual, and I will be speaking about it to protect other people. Otherwise, it's not something that I would typically, like out here, trying to expose the evils in the world or talk about psychology or religion or um, medical advances or lack thereof, you know, all the above. But never with the intent of trying to demean another human being. Now, if they do something to me first, I might. Like a woman called me a sheep one time, and I made her take it back, and I told her, and I called her a couple names. I told her, you take this crap back, and then I will publicly, and I got on here. And I thanked her, and she still might watch me occasionally because everybody thought it was so cute to call people animal names, thinking that they were above their understanding or whatever, you know, and it's like, that's not what's going on here, you know. But anyway, I'm always happy when, if and when I have had any conflicts with people out here. Um, Even somebody I hadn't talked to for like a couple years, and then we were able to come to an understanding and work things out. That was a good feeling. That's always a good feeling when you can work things out with people. Some people you just can't, though, if you know what I mean. There's just, they might be so different than you, or they've trained their minds to really tune out your lifestyle because their lifestyle is so different. So it puts them in like a whole nother camp, whether you want them to be or not. And it's really hard to communicate uh, because they put up these walls. Um, it's walls they actually put up not only for themselves, but if you're close enough to a person, they almost put these walls inside of you too. It almost becomes a reflection of, just because of what they're going through, their own trauma ends up kind of being instilled inside of you. It's like learned narcissism. If you're raised by a narcissist, it's probably going to take you well into your adult life to realize that something was not right, and how are you going to rise above that, and how do you delicately rise above that without injuring the people that harmed you. Well, that's almost impossible because they're going to notice that you're different right from the beginning. So yeah, if you know what I mean, jelly bean. If you've been there, you know. My Russian friends who watch me said hi to me through Doug this morning. They're going to take their little girl to go see her grandpa, is her best friend. And when I was little, my adopted grandpa, the one I call my good grandpa, was my best friend. It wasn't so much that I saw myself in him because I was adopted. He's pure French. I have all kinds of bloodline, and French is part of that. But it's so mixed, like Scottish, Danish, Dutch, blah 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 blah, everything. English, whatever, German, blah blah. On and on. I could just go into the bloodlines, and I what we traced back was just crazy. And I'm basically related to everybody. It's wild, really, really crazy. But anyway, so I didn't so much as see a reflection of myself in my grandpa. It's the way he protected me from people that were doing harm to me. He was the only person in my life that had stood up against that ever for me, and I'll forever be grateful. Then I would help him decorate for Christmas and clean up the whole mess and um, bake for him, and we did a lot of things together that he wouldn't do with his natural children or my other cousins that weren't my blood, because I was a good girl and I did what he told me to do, and the rest of them wouldn't listen. So, like, he'd take me to the fair and I got to ride an elephant, and, little things that would kind of, they were mad at me about it, but they could have had the same opportunity, but they didn't care. It's like I had one I had three cousins that were girls that lived on one side of my grandpa's house, and we lived on the other side, and none of them cared to spend any time with him. Or, I mean, he'd be washing his car, I'd help him clean up his gardens and whitewash his stucco house and all kinds of things, cleaning and dusting for him, and carrying things, and things they wouldn't even care. I'd see him pull up outside and yell, "Hi, Grandpa." Never heard any of my cousins even giving a hoot. And then they all get jealous when Grandpa doesn't take them out to dinner at this fancy restaurant. It's like, because he doesn't like you. No, well, he didn't, you know. So I have good memories of one person treating me decent, so, because I deserved it. And I wasn't vain. I mean, I had little cousins that I would look after, and, the blood thing, I knew it, but it didn't register. I liked the saying. I felt like I was a store-bought cake and everybody else was homemade. You go to like a smorgasbord, or people bring dishes, and I was the only one that came from the store. Everybody else was a homemade cake. So, and they treated me like that too, except for my grandpa. And he did buy three teddy bears one year. I don't know if my brother got one. I got one, and then a couple of my cousins did. He used to buy us like Christmas gifts. Um, then he kind of cut back on that and would just, because, long story. Anyway, he bought me this giant teddy bear that looked like it was brown, except it had like a shirt, and the shirt was an American flag. So I had this big teddy bear that had an American flag on it. So, yeah. I was pretty little. Then another time, he bought me this most cool little picnic table. And what I mostly remember about that is I was with my mom, and her younger sister was married to a lawyer that was working in the House, the Senate in Minneapolis, and they lived on this like Governor's Road or whatever, these fancy places, whatever. I mean, I lived in a pretty nice house, but it wasn't quite like a mansion or nothing, but anyway, it doesn't matter what standing people have in society. These women were not watching me, and I don't think I even ate any, but I was playing with aspirins. Might have been about 4, 3.5, 4. I was supposed to be taking a nap, and I don't know why, but I ended up climbing on the sink to the medicine cabinet, and I grabbed the aspirins and I took them back on the bed, and I was putting them in piles. Now I don't know if I was counting. I think I was counting aspirins, little piles of aspirins. And my aunt came in there and she flipped out, and they took me to the emergency room and they shoved this pipe down my throat and pumped my stomach. That did hurt my throat too. I've got plastic in my throat too from my tonsillitis, so I do have actual throat problems. But anyway, so then when I'm all done, they give me this Tootsie Roll Pop, and I go home, and my grandpa had bought me this little set, this little picnic table set that was about 4 foot long, and it was gray, and it had matching benches. And he told me to stay out of his way and go sit on my picnic table, and I fell asleep there. That's my memory of besides putting it outside and having my little cousins there, and I'd kind of watch them with their runny little noses. And I always wondered to myself, how could these people that are all blood relatives have their children running around in these beautiful dresses, and their nose are running out of their faces, and their parents don't wipe their noses or anything. And even when I was little, I knew how to do these things by myself. I thought, why? Like a pretty little blonde girl, blue eyes, my little cousin, I'm not going to name you, one of my youngest ones. And all of these sisters were running around when they say like snot nosed child, kid, whatever. And they really were. And it still blows my mind. They didn't blow their noses. I never got that. I still don't understand it. Don't you feel it? Even if you're a little kid, wouldn't you wipe it on your sleeve? Or, I mean, you're a kid, You just let it hang out of your face. Ew, I don't know. And I've seen that more out of little girls than I have little boys, actually, too, to come to think of it, you know. I did teach my children how to blow their noses and wipe their faces and stuff. Hopefully not on their clothes, but you know. I don't know. I still don't get it. Anyway, makes me feel a little happy I actually wasn't related. But then I am related to people that don't like me very well anyway. They would like me if I liked them more, but I don't join in like filthy conversations and overlooked crudity and rudity and incorporate that in my life and say like we're all healthy and I love you when I don't like being around you because of those reasons. So if you don't like me, well, then I don't have any family and I never did, so that I'm cool with that. And it's like, so there you go. And I know I have some half sisters that watch me occasionally. Sissies, I love you. That you know somebody's gotta be more matriarchal in that whole situation. And that's me. Love me or hate me, whatever. But I'm gonna do it right as that example for my younger sisters and maybe my older one and ones from my dad's side of the family someday may appreciate what they did have or do have for the values and virtues that I have that some of you can't stand, you know, and a couple of you can because you have your own families and husbands and loved ones that you also want to protect in those ways. I'm just the one that's actually doing it and doing it for you too and other people I love, my granddaughters and my friends. And so, yeah, if you have certain virtues and qualities that are loving and kind towards human beings in that respect, and you don't have misplaced sexuality, and um, you're not proud of any disorder that is not really accepted in society, then you're probably a friend of mine, you know. I will roll another cigarette and hang with you here for a little bit because we're all hanging, aren't we? Being hung by this nonsensical acceptance of the weird things in society that should never be accepted and will never be accepted around me. I don't care who. I have even now a adolescent granddaughter. Um, well, maybe not. Well, time will tell. But right now, I think she's kind of mad at me because I'm not going along with this crap at all. A woman's a woman and a man's a man, and you don't lie with the same flesh. And I'm not going to tolerate it around me. I'm going to love you. I'll love you from afar, like I do the rest of the dead greats that can't get it together for the Word of God. So you do what you want to do, and you can hate Grandma along the way all you want to do. And when you find out that your DNA has been contaminated by your practices and God's pounding on your heart, you'll remember my words then. But you're probably going to have to go through hell to get to that feeling. I was just trying to save you some of the pain. So I'd still hug you, and I still gonna send you gifts and love you and all them good things. I just might not be talking to you for a while. You probably don't want to talk to me, but someday you're gonna want it, and I'll be waiting. So, I feel that way about a lot of people. I'm waiting, but I'm not backing down. Not one iota, not ever. Not on anything that I know makes a healthy family and a healthy human being. And I don't care who says what or what's flipping acceptable out here. And I can prove how I feel is not in a bullying manner and give you science and actual spiritual reasonings within our flesh, why we don't do certain things, and the diseases that are associated with things that doctors are not speaking up on enough, or in psychiatry, or as ministers. You're weak. You're not talking about the important issues. You're talking about everything else except for what's going to really help people and giving people those tools. Yeah, we can live in fantasy la la land and we can worry about how to anti-age our flipping wrinkles when we're supposed to be purifying our souls to be able to stand in front of our Father like a human being, the way we're taught. You know, some people aren't going to be able to stand it all because they won't have that monicum of dignity. They can pretend out here all they want, but when it really comes down to it, it's like a naughty kid and they do something and you ask them if they do it and nah, well, you know they did. It might not be till years later and they finally face up to it and I never told you, and I'm like, you didn't have to tell me. I was a little bit ahead of the game, you know. I already knew. What are you going to tell me? You know? But they think they're being sneaky because they could lie about something or ignore it or pretend it didn't happen when you know all along, you know? So, but that's what it's going to be for these people when they go before God because they truly don't believe that He's watching from the inside out. He made this stuff, you know? This is part of Him, whether we like it or not. He's on our hearts, in our minds, and you can try and drink it away. You can try and do whatever. It doesn't make it, it's not going to go away. It's there till you die. Then you're going to have to maybe wonder, um, do you care what happens to you when you're done here? You know, is that of any importance to you? I don't mean to shake my finger at you, but that's as much for me. I had to ask myself these questions. How important is that? Quite frankly, if suicide wasn't against the will of God, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. So we all have our faults in life. That is my recommendation is to cherish our flesh as much as we possibly can without too much vanity that we can look at ourselves and say, hey, we're cute, but uh, God loves us all like that. So like kind of get a grip and get a hold of yourself, because for any given person, somebody's going to tell you you're cute or sexy or beautiful or whatever. They say beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. Well, beauty's also on the lips of the liars. So, anyway. A lot of you know what I mean, too. Yeah, if you've been betrayed, you know. You can feel so on top of the world. 1 second, everything can come crumbling down. But then who are you inside there? When that happens, to God, you know who you are. If you don't, then you're probably going to struggle with that type of thing and that betrayal. Then you'll suffer because you'll be forever trying to prove or have somebody validate you when we should only seek validation from God. We don't have to worry about, if we have a friend and they have like mustard on their face, Are you the type of person that's going to tell your friend or maybe pick up a napkin and wipe their face? Or are you going to let them sit with, or something in their teeth? You know, I'm the type of friend that probably give you a napkin and say right there, right there, you know. Doug does that too, and with my dyslexia, and of course, like you're mirrored, so he's on the other side, and he'll say like you got ashes there or something. So I'll go to wipe, and he's like, "No, your other left," and I'm like, because he didn't say left, or he'd like, you got something right there, and then he'd bring in like the direction. That's just nasty. You know, that's as bad as backing up a trailer. I mean, I can do it. I can do it better, and I've backed up 18 wheelers and all kinds of implements, but I can do it more if I don't let my lack of confidence get in the way. If I just do it and know that you have to turn the wheel the other direction, then I'm okay. But if I get upset in between there, that could be a problem. And I've made problems for myself in that area where I just had to turn the machine off for a second and sit there and gather myself and just like, I've done this before. I can do it again, type of thing. But yeah, so kind of like life. Well, yeah, I'm not going to do this again. Just, I've told God, if you don't like me and you think I'm not good enough this time, I don't want to go through it again. Just abolish my soul, then do whatever you want to do. But I've been through too much hell to pretend that this is heaven on earth. I am not going to pretend that it's like I'm grateful for everything that happens to me and all this shit. I'm not one of those. There may be a reason for it. It's not necessarily always your lesson, you know? So I don't buy all that. So if you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, I believe in karma too. I believe I've had things happen to me because I've done bad things to other people, whether it was knowingly or not. And sometimes it was. But as a young woman and an adult, I've been on the straight and narrow, a pretty decent human being, um, without too many major screw ups as an adult. And so I'll carry my head high with that. I'm not letting anybody else put their shame on me. It's like, no, this bad thing that you did to me, you're going to pay for it because I didn't deserve it. That type of thing. And that's a fact. There is a certain amount of dignity that a person can carry, and it's yours, and that's not a prideful thing. That's your virtues. Be proud of that. That's iniquity was found in Lucifer. It was of a sexual nature. It had nothing to do with pride. It did have, however, uh, wanting to abolish God. So I mean, when you want somebody dead, that's not pride we're talking about. They say pride comes before the fall, or the biggest sin was pride. No, no, it wasn't. It can be a major, ego can be a major stumbling stone for people. I've tried to get out here and act goofy enough to show you that, yeah, although I have dignity, I'm not beyond doing something silly like showing you my foot with my striped sock, or I like doing that, or just something funny, quirky to make somebody laugh, like just something wrong with this woman, but it was funnier than shit, kind of something I try to do just to show you that, I just don't think I'm absolutely perfect, but I really wouldn't want to be anyway, you know. not on this planet. I'm keeping my fighting nature while I'm still here. Then, when I get to go home to my Father, I don't ever want to fight again. But until I leave here, I'm going to keep working out, and I'm going to tell my enemies, you come near me, I will beat your ass. You've scared me, you've hurt me, and now, and I've hurt them back when I had to escape. But now things are a little bit different, and I'm way more skilled. So I don't know if you've been working out like I have. In fact, I know you haven't. So, yeah, I'm talking to a few people in particular, and they are men that would like to do me harm and have tried. So, yeah, I will keep diligently strong and agile and somewhat dangerous, more than somewhat, because of that reason. So, yeah, there's a part of me that I don't want to take home to my Father, but I'm not letting it go while I'm here, and it has nothing to do with hatred or anger. It's self-preservation, you know. But I will threaten other people. If they're harming people, I will threaten to come right to your house and shut you up if that's what you need. Or invite you here to do a sparring match and take my animosity of what you're doing out on your dumb ass. So I'm not beyond that. But other than that, the love of God for people is in my heart. And even at that point, it would be. So nothing would be truly out of anger, you know, or madness, I should say. Anger, maybe, but not madness. That's another level. I've battled madness before. That's just pure crazy. That's retarded. That's murderous. That's psychotic. You know. So back to people in uniforms. I'm not impressed. What are you like as a human being? Take your uniform off. If you're going to socialize on Facebook, we don't need to see your uniform. You know. Be a human being first. If you want to make friends, you're truly making friends, why don't you try it as a person, not as the position you hold? Just a suggestion for people. Might work, you never know. Leave like your religion out of it. Leave your position that you hold in the government or whatever. Who are you as a human being? Are we actually going to like you? Or, you know, it's like Jesus walking the earth. Did people really like him? We know God loves him, of course. In general, I would say the majority of people did not like him. Kind of like what's going on in the world right now, you know? And it is true. He didn't leave this. He might have left the world in a, not might have. He left the world in a better place because the Christ spirit is in human flesh. But there's still a lot of evil going on in this world. So he really didn't change anything. He gave us the confidence to know that we're able to sell, um, dying for our sins. That part I do believe. He stepped down as the Father into the flesh to help us see the way out so he could be closer to us sooner. And because our souls are young, we're babies compared to him. And in that sense, none of us have actually been born yet. I have a video from, probably 6 years ago called Life in a Petri Dish. If you can think of it. It sounds a little demeaning, but in all reality, you know, like how special are you when you really look at the whole cosmos from what we can see, or even on this plane of existence, and in comparison to what or who, like what significance, are we? Am I? You know, oh, we might be. You might be pretty darn special because God does love us and He loves us a lot. So, yeah. I don't know if you saw the weather change just now, about the last 10 minutes I've been talking. The clouds are sneaking in, so I'm going to get this uploaded, and otherwise, if the rain hits, it might not be up until, well, if a thunderstorm comes in, it could even be tomorrow morning, and I don't want to. Some people count on just me saying hello, and I'm glad you do. I'm glad you're there for me, and I love you all. I appreciate you joining me, even if I don't like you. I pray someday I actually will. So I really do. So, all right, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.